She won an Oscar. Everyone loved her. Julie Andrews had a beautiful smile, but she kept a dirty secret from 60 years. The shocking event began in 1965 on a movie set. She was married. He had a wife. They had a very violent relationship. When rumors spread that they were meeting in secret at a hotel, their studio bosses said they would destroy them both. Julie chose to be quiet. Up until now. The Sound of Music star finally talks about the relationship she was not allowed to have, which cost her everything. Julie Andrews was born in Walton-on-Thames, England, in 1935. But her life was already complicated when she was a baby. Barb's mother had an affair with a family friend, and Julie was born as a result. Julie thought someone else was her father for a long time. She didn't find out the truth until she was 15. The world didn't know the truth until she told it herself in her autobiography many years later. Her family life fell apart when World War II started. Her parents split up and then got married again. Julie moved around a lot. She lived with her real father some of the time and her mother and new husband, Ted Andrews, other times. It was hard for her to live with her dad. He drank a lot and did some very bad things. Julie had to lock the door to her room to keep herself safe. They had a hard time getting by because they lived in a bad part of London. She said later that those war years were some of the worst of her life. Even though everything was a mess, her voice was a bright spot. Even though he had problems, her dad saw that she was talented and set up singing lessons for her. That's when she met the famous voice teacher Madame Lillian Stiles Allen. She was like a third mother to Julie. Madame saw something unique in Julie. She had a huge singing range and a tone that was very clear. Julie didn't think her singing was very good. People were amazed, but she joked that only dogs could hear her higher notes. She worked out hard while going to school and music lessons, getting ready for a life that most kids her age could only dream of. Julie did her first real shows with her parents. She was only 10 years old when she stood on a beer crate to get to the mic. She sang with her mother playing the piano and her husband by her side. Soon, she was singing for soldiers, taking the train, and even sleeping in luggage racks with Petula Clark, another child star. Everything changed when I was 12. Her dad put her in touch with a man who ran some of London's biggest theaters. Julie took the shot he fired at her. She sang her first professional show at the London Hippodrome, where she sung a hard French opera piece to a packed house. She was only a child, but her act stole the show. The crowd went crazy. It turned into a job for a whole year after that one night. One of her acts was with Wally Boyd, a balloon artist comedian. She would run on stage and tell him she could sing, then wow the crowd. She sang by herself at the Royal Variety Show for the first time in front of the King and Queen when she was 13 years old. Things moved quickly after that. She was on the radio and then TV. Becoming a voice that people all over Britain know. Kids' plays like Jack and the Beanstalk and Cinderella had parts for her. Before she turned 13, she already had her own fans. Julie's first movie wasn't a big hit. It was a speech part in The Singing Princess, an Italian cartoon. But it was the first thing she did to get to something bigger. Before she went on Broadway for the first time, Julie Andrews had just turned 19. It was September 30th, 1954, and she got the lead part of Holly Brown and the Boyfriend, a musical. That first performance wasn't just any, it changed her life. She got the part thanks to British actor Paddy Jacques, who Julie always thanked for giving her her first real chance. It wasn't easy to take the job, though. Julie was scared because she had to leave her family in England. She was the one who gave them money, and now she was flying around the world. Her father pushed her to go even though he didn't think she would succeed. Everything would be different after that one choice. People really liked what she did. She was praised by many. People were amazed by her clear, strong voice and great comedic timing. It was put on 485 times, and Julie won the Theatre World Award for her first appearance. The real win, though, wasn't the cheers, it was the people who were watching. In the crowd were Alan J. Lerner and Frederick Lowe, two well-known Broadway managers. As they looked for people to play Eliza Doolittle in their new show, My Fair Lady, they had just found her. In March 1956, Julie was 20 years old and no longer a newbie. She was famous. It was not just a big deal to play Eliza Doolittle opposite Rex Harrison in My Fair Lady, it was the part. Julie got to show off both her acting and her voice as she went from being a Cockney flower girl to a well-dressed lady. And people knew about it. The show was a huge hit. It ran on Broadway for many years, and the cast recording was played all over the place. In homes, on the radio, and even on the charts. She brought the same magic to London's West End in 1958, after she had already ruled New York. She was so talented that people from all over the world could hear her high-pitched voice. Then, in 1960, she went back to Broadway. This time she was Queen Guinevere in Camelot. Her co-star was Welsh actor Richard Burton, who lit up the stage. Things got a little rough off stage. Later, Julie told Burton that she really liked him. He had a charm that made her want to be with him. He kept things businesslike for a while. But when he finally moved, Julie shocked everyone, especially herself, by swearing back. A joke was told later that Mary Poppins let loose, getting him to leave and calling him out. The excitement they had on stage didn't go down, though. It might have even sizzled more. At first, the show had a hard time, but things got better after a performance on The Ed Sullivan Show. People came to see the show, and it ran for 3 solid years. Burton got a Tony Award. It was another nod for Julie, and Walt Disney was there to see it. When Disney saw her in Camelot, he knew right away that she was his Mary Poppins. But before that could happen, Julie was hit hard by something painful. There was a movie being made of My Fair Lady, and everyone thought she'd be in it. People knew her from the part. Warner Brothers turned her down because they wanted a bigger name. Her name was Eliza Doolittle. Audrey Hepburn got the part. It hit you in the gut. Audrey was already a big name in movies, but Julie sang better than she did. In fact, she had to have another voice dub most of her songs. Afterward, Julie said she would have spat in their face if they had asked her to sing for someone else's voice. But giving up that job made room for something better. Disney gave her the character Mary Poppins. He saw her on stage in Camelot and ran backstage that night to meet her. Julie thought he was just being nice. She then told him she couldn't take on any more parts. She was having a baby. "That's fine," Walt said with a smile. "Let's wait." He wasn't just being nice. He had been wanting to do this job for a long time. He told his girls that he would make a movie based on their favorite book. He thought Julie was the only person who could do it. He even gave her family a house to stay in Los Angeles. The woman from a small English town didn't really expect to take over the world when Mary Poppins first came out in 1964. She was 29 and had never been in a movie before. Still, people were hooked as soon as she walked on screen as the magical man. The show went off. It made more than $103 million around the world and over $44 million in the US. The award shows the next year put the two movies up against each other. It was crushed by Mary Poppins. Best Actress went to Julie Andrews. Audrey Hepburn wasn't even put forward. In her speech, Julie thanked Jack Warner, the person who made this happen. A cheeky nod to the boss who turned her down. Even better, Mary Poppins made more money than My Fair Lady, even though it cost a lot less to make. The movie business knew who Julie Andrews really was. When The Sound of Music came out in March 1965, it wasn't just a hit, it blew up. It made $286 million around the world and made Julie Andrews a famous person all over the world. She played Maria von Trapp, a pretty young nun who brings music back into the home of a sad family. One of the most famous scenes in movie history is the first shot of her spinning on top of the mountain. Behind the scenes, though, it wasn't magic. The shot was taken from a chopper, and the wind from the blades kept knocking her to the ground. She joked later that after every take, she was pressed down into the grass. The movie made Andrews Hollywood's Golden Girl. It won 5 Oscars, including Best Picture. But there was a cost to being too good. People started to say she could only do musicals after playing 2 well-liked nannies in a row. Julie knew she had to do something different. Later that same year, in 1964, she chose a very different type of movie, the Americanization of Emily. It took place during World War II and was much darker. In the movie with James Garner, she played a British widow. She wasn't singing for the first time. She put on a show. She showed she could do it. Next, she worked with Alfred Hitchcock on the Cold War spy movie Torn Curtain, which came out in 1966. Universal Pictures counted on her and Paul Newman's star power to make the movie a hit. He wasn't happy, though. He thought that both players were too smooth for the rough tone he was going for. Even though the reviews were mixed, people still came. With only $3 million to spend, the movie made over $13 million. It was a win, but not a sure thing. In the same year, she directed Hawaii, a huge historical play based on a book by James Missioner. At the time, it cost $15 million, which was more than any other movie. Even though heavy rain and even tidal wave warnings slowed things down, it ended up being the year's biggest hit. Played a strong-willed woman who goes to the islands with her missionary husband. Even though she did a good job, Jocelyn Lagarde ended up getting all the attention. She was the star of the show and won a Golden Globe. No one saw that coming. The magic started to wear off by the end of the 1960s. Julie played the lead role in Star, a biopic about the stage actor Gertrude Lawrence that came out in 1968. It cost a lot of money. The director was also the person who made The Sound of Music, and things looked good. But the movie didn't work. She got bad reviews for being too dramatic. Variety didn't hold back when they said that her act was overdone hoydnishness. The movie did so badly at the box office that it was one of the most expensive flops of the decade. Next was Darling Lily, which came out in 1970 and was directed by her husband Blake Edwards. It was meant to change how people saw her. She swore on TV. She teased in her underwear. People were shocked, and not in a good way. The movie took a lot of money, about $25 million, to make, but it didn't do well at the box office. This time it was a huge failure. Hollywood no longer saw her as a leading lady after that. She was nominated for a Golden Globe for both Star and Darling Lily, which is strange. There was respect, but there wasn't any pace. She needed to start over. In 1972, she started her own TV show called The Julie Andrews Hour. It was a variety show with music, comedy, and guest stars. ABC believed in her so much that they gave her a 5-year contract. The first episode of the show got great praise. Others said she was charming and good at many things, but that didn't mean she got good scores. The show had a hard time competing with better shows, so it was dropped after only one season. Then something strange took place. The show won a lot of awards at the Emmys a month after being cancelled. It won 7 awards out of 10 bids. It was sad that no one watched the award-winning show. Even though ABC gave her a few more shows to make up for it, it was clear that TV wasn't her new home either. She did something brave. She went to a lot of nightclubs. Yes, the woman who was famous for singing with kids in the Alps was now singing jazz and telling jokes in smoky bars. It was a whole new start. She made fun of her own looks and joked about Hollywood. She showed that she wasn't just a musical theater princess. It got great reviews. The audiences were amazed. The world saw a different side of her. Smart, funny, and totally in charge. Then, in 1979, she came back to the big screen. She played the lead role in Blake Edwards' love comedy 10. It was hot, funny, and very up-to-date. It made more than $74 million and proved that Julie Andrews was still a big star. After that, she made SOB in 1981, a dark comedy in which she shocked everyone by showing up without a top. It wasn't a mistake that moment. It was how she burned her old image and claimed a new one. It really changed things though when Victoria came out in 1982. In it, she played a singer who was having a hard time getting a nightclub gig and pretends to be a guy. The part was smart, complex, and brave. It was about sexuality, gender identity, and surviving, and she did a great job with it. The movie made $28 million, gave her another Golden Globe, and put her in the running for an Oscar. When people heard her name, Maria von Trapp wasn't the only part that came to mind. Julie Andrews had done something that not many stars can do. She had changed into a different person more than once. It wasn't like she lost what made people love her in the first place. It got harder for her to handle her personal life as her work took off. Julie got married to Tony Walton, a set designer, in 1959. They've known each other since they were kids. Before becoming her pen pal, he saw her act when they were both kids. They got married in London while she was still in My Fair Lady. Emma was their daughter. She was born in 1962. Julie was now juggling Broadway, being a mom, and getting married. It was hard. They couldn't see each other because of work. Often for months at a time, and sometimes across countries. Being a mom and famous at the same time wasn't something Julie was ready for. She said it pulled her in different ways at one point. She felt torn between her job and her child, and sometimes between her husband and her kid. Over the years, the stress grew. At the time, she didn't say anything about it because she wanted to keep going. The stress got too much in the end. Julie and Tony split up in 1969. Andrews was very sad after the split. She chose to go to therapy, which changed her whole life. She listened when director Mike Nichols told her to get help. It helped her deal with what she called the trash and clutter in her mind. Her mind was clear, and she felt strong enough to keep going. After many years, she opened up about her mental health. She wanted her story to help other people. Faith made the choice to make things interesting right outside of a therapist's office. That's where she met Blake Edwards, the director. He joked later that it was a very Hollywood moment. That moment really happened. They were both softly hurt and had been through heartbreak. They found a strange comfort in each other. Even though they were 13 years apart in age, something just clicked. They were married by 1969. Their lives changed from being on movie sets to having family dinners. He had kids, and she took care of them. Later, they adopted 2 girls from Vietnam, Amy and Joanne. They worked together as well as being partners at home. They worked together on 7 movies, such as SOB and Victor Victoria. Some movies, like Darling Lily, didn't do well, but that never changed how they felt about each other. Andrews often said that Blake's sharp sense of humor made her seem less serious. They were married for 41 years, until he died in 2010. She kept calling the time they spent together a true love story even after he died. But a long time before Blake, there was a different, less well-known but very moving episode. In 1960, Julie was the lead in the Broadway show Camelot as Guinevere, acting opposite Richard Burton as King Arthur. When they were on stage, they were a great match. Off stage, things were tricky. She was married to Tony Walton at the time, but things were beginning to fall apart. Burton was interesting, charming, and hard to overlook. Julie later said that her marriage was unstable and that she felt alone. She didn't expect to feel the way she did when she worked closely with Burton every day. She told him that she felt tempted, but she never did anything bad. She kept her mind on the work. She knew what was at stake, and even though she wanted to give in, she decided to be disciplined instead. It's possible that her choice kept her from more pain. The Sound of Music came out in 1965. Julie was Maria. The captain was played by Christopher Plummer. It wasn't just acting, they had magic connection. They secretly liked each other a lot. In their personal lives, they were both having a rough time. Julie still felt the weight of a marriage that was having trouble. Plummer had his own problems to deal with. It would have been simple for love to grow, but it never did. Plummer once made fun of the fact that they should have had a big affair but couldn't because of real life. Julie brought her kids with her. It was the wrong time. Still, it led to a deep bond that will last. Julie said that they never went out together, which may have made their relationship better. They had a lot of respect for each other. She often told him how great it was that he kept The Sound of Music grounded and from getting too sweet or silly. They stayed close and checked in on each other over the years. We laughed together and helped each other. In 2021, Plummer died. Julie said that they had stayed close friends until the end. Her job changed along with her home life. In That's Life, 1986, the 1980s brought new problems. In the role, she played a singer who might have cancer. At that time, doctors found a lump on her throat, so the part hit close to home. It was about relationships between older people. And being afraid of what you don't know. In the same year, she played a famous pianist with multiple sclerosis in the movie Duet for One. The story was real and made me feel things. It also let her work with Liam Neeson, whose intense acting made the movie more interesting. She was nominated for Golden Globes for both parts, showing that she was more than just a music star. By the 1990s, Andrews was interested in TV. In the 1992 TV show Julie, she played a TV personality who moves to a small town with her new husband, a doctor. The show was directed by Blake Edwards, but no one ever saw it. It was taken off the air after only 7 shows. Even though the show didn't do well, Andrews had success in other areas. 5 Emmys were given to Julie Andrews for her role in The Sound of Christmas in 1987. She worked with Carol Burnett again on the 1989 movie Julie and Carol, Together Again. In 1990, she sang at Julie Andrews' event and showed everyone why she was a star. She came back to Broadway in a big way after 30 years away. She played the lead role in Putting It Together, a Stephen Sondheim review about love and sorrow, in 1993. It was a small off-Broadway show that only ran for 59 performances, but it was a big return. After 2 years, she played the lead role in Victor Victoria. a Broadway show based on her 1982 movie. She was Victoria Grant, a woman who pretended to be a guy and worked as a female impersonator. The show was such a hit that it ran for over 700 performances. The Tony Awards put her in the running for Victor Victoria that same year. But when she saw that she was the only group member who was known, she made a brave choice. She turned down the nod. It wasn't because they were proud or angry. She thought that the whole group should be recognized. It was a unique event in Broadway history, and it showed what kind of person Andrews was. After 37 years, Julie Andrews came back to Disney with The Princess Diaries in 2001. She was Queen Clarice Rinaldi, a royal grandmother who helped Anne Hathaway's awkward granddaughter in the show. Director Gary Marshall didn't make her try out because he knew she was right for the part. She hadn't been in a Disney movie since Mary Poppins in 1964, which won her an Oscar. Queen Clarice was one of her most beloved parts because of how warm and funny she was in it. She helped Hathaway on set, even though she said Hathaway didn't need much help. The movie was a hit and made $165 million around the world. Andrews even had a rare singing moment in The Princess Diaries 2, Royal Engagement 2004. Even though she couldn't sing as well after surgery in 1997. Her voice was used in Shrek 2, the second part that same year. She played Fiona's mother, a queen who was kind and helpful. In contrast to most animated movies, she taped scenes with John Cleese, which made the chemistry between them on screen more real. People all over the world loved the Shrek movies, and Andrews played the same character in Shrek the Third, 2007, and Shrek Forever After. In 2007, she was the voice of Enchanted, a Disney movie that mixed fairy stories with real life. Her singing set the magical mood, connecting old and new Disney stories. The movie made more than $340 million around the world. In 2010, she played the funny head fairy Lily in the movie Tooth Fairy. Lily helps Dwayne Johnson's character get through a surprise magical punishment. The movie made $112 million, which showed that Andrews was still great in fun family movies. For the 60th anniversary of My Fair Lady in 2016, she led a stage version of the play. The show opened at the Sydney Opera House and went on to perform in many other places. She made sure it was true to the original by using old ideas to make new costumes and sets. The show broke records at the box office and got great reviews. She helped make and presented Julie's Green Room, an educational Netflix show for kids that taught them about the performing arts, in 2017. Alec Baldwin and Idina Menzel were among the famous people who appeared on the show. Emma Walton Hamilton, her daughter, helped make the show, so it was a family project. 3 afternoon Emmys were given to the show. It seemed like Julie Andrews' singing could do anything. Her soprano range of 4 octaves made Mary Poppins and music sound like they would never forget. But by 1995, something was wrong. Her voice started to hurt while she was playing Victor Victoria on Broadway. At first, it was just a hoarse voice that goes away when you rest. It didn't happen this time, though. In 1997, a lump was found on her voice cords by doctors. Some people called them non-cancerous tumors. Some people said it was a harmless growth. In any case, singing for years had worn her out. The doctors told her to rest, but she wanted a real answer. She had surgery at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York in June 1997. Getting rid of the growth and restoring her voice was supposed to be a simple, quick process. Instead, it made her life different for good. Her voice cords will always have scars from the surgery. Because of scar tissue, they couldn't vibrate the way they should have. Her strong, clear voice was gone. It became hard to even speak. Surgery on the vocal cords wasn't as advanced back then. Some folks used tools. Some people used lasers. Both had a high chance of leaving scars. Andrews later said that she had not been fully told about the risks. Blake Edwards, her husband, told the press about what had happened in 1998. He told her what she was most afraid of: she would never sing again. She felt like she had lost a part of herself when she lost her voice. She did something in December 1999. Claim for malpractice against Mount Sinai Hospital and the 2 surgeons who worked there. She said they didn't tell her the real risks and that the surgery had made it impossible for her to do what she needed to do. The case.